Today, I want to take you to the prehistoric age of 1999, a time when a green dinosaur roamed the earth, alongside a gorilla, a yellow thing, and a washed-up plumber. Each were stars of their own respective video games, but in this specific year, they all met up in a new game called Super Smash Bros. A game where all your favorite Nintendo characters would beat the shit out of each other for the sport of it. For the release of Smash, they aired one of the most iconic commercials in Nintendo's history. It was literally just guys in Nintendo suits beating each other up, but it's absolute cinema. But that's not really what I'm interested in right now, because the narrator says something very interesting 20 seconds into the ad.
Where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded Slamfest.
So why is this seemingly random clip more important than Donkey Kong bonking Mario? Well, you see, Slamfest was also an event Nintendo live-streamed before live-streaming was popular, and has become one of the most famous pieces of lost media, since there's seemingly no surviving recording of the event. For over 25 years, it's been shrouded in mystery, with so many breakthroughs, new discoveries, and close calls, but it still remains lost. So, without further ado, today I want to tell you the story of the strange Nintendo livestream we lost forever. Here is the story of Slamfest 99. In April 1999, Nintendo released their new game Super Smash Bros., made by the genius Masahiro Sakurai, the guy responsible for the Kirby series. At first it was going to be called Dragon King the Fighting Game, but fighting game sales were really bad at the time, so Sakurai eventually decided to rebrand his fighting game as a Nintendo Fighting Game mashup. And while Nintendo wasn't too happy with the idea at first, they eventually gave him the creative thumbs up after a really polished demo was shown off, and thus Super Smash Bros. Was created. She's a beauty. For the release of Smash, Nintendo commissioned promotional costumes from a studio called KCL Productions, an absolute relic of the old internet. Hey, make sure to check out their cool monkey at the upcoming Grinch That Stole Christmas from Universal Studios. They've done it for 30 years. And what the f does Zoiks mean? Anyway, Nintendo wanted to find another use for the costumes aside from the ad, so it was set in stone that on April 24th, 1999, just 2 days before the full game came out, they would be hosting a Super Smash Bros. Match in real life. It was called Super Smash Bros. Live, or Slamfest 99, and featured the blue team, Mario and Yoshi, against the red team, Donkey Kong and Pikachu. It was hosted at an old theme park in Las Vegas with a full-sized boxing ring that Mike Tyson was going to actually use in the near future, and Nintendo was actually experimenting with the new concept of live streaming at the time, which usually meant you'd watch a broadcast that looks like this. Despite the internet once having a direct broadcast of Slamfest with a download link for those who wanted to watch it later, the website they used to host it went down after all these years, and along with it went Slamfest, seemingly forever. For over 20 years, the event went almost entirely forgotten to the world, never being brought up or mentioned until the owner of GameXplain, a popular YouTube channel, made this tweet in 2020. Does anyone else remember the real-life Smash Bros. Battle using the same costumes that Nintendo livestreamed to promote the game? Yep, a livestream in '99. I've never heard anyone else mention it, and I can find zero evidence of it ever existing online. This inspired a lot of people to start searching for the forgotten event he was talking about, and after a little while, more people came out with first-hand recounts of the event. We found out it took place from 11 AM to 1 PM. People could get this Donkey Kong with this graphically designed ticket, and that obviously was live-streamed. Now, we all know the whole issue is that no one has access to this live stream, but actually, there is something that got through from this livestream. The people searching managed to stumble across a website called Zelda 64 Planet, which was a Nintendo-themed blog back in the day, as you can clearly tell by the UI. Owner Kiang85 actually wrote about his experience with Slamfest the day it happened. He gave his own recollection of the event, saying he missed the event in person but was able to watch it online, then gave a random kid's recollection who actually showed up, and most importantly, attached a bunch of screenshots that are some of the only remaining evidence of the live stream. At least we're 99% sure these are from the live stream. Now, I get that a lot of people don't really care about what happened at this event, and they just really care about finding it. But before we move forward, I figured I'd give you some more context that words just can't explain. Because just maybe, we're missing something by not understanding what happened at the event. You see, thanks to people like King85 who gave a detailed recount, we have a pretty good idea of what happened during this event. So while I may not have any new information or am any use to this search at all, I do have imagination, and you don't. So for very, very important reasons, I'm gonna recreate this entire event using random toys I found so I can show you what happened during Slamfest. If we can't find the live stream, I'm gonna make my own damn live stream. All right, here we go. Each character comes in, gets a little introduction while the ref hypes up the crowd, and then Mario stirs up the crowd like the self-obsessed asshole he is, and then everyone's ready for the match and they all meet in the middle. The battle starts and Donkey Kong absolutely obliterates Mario because of course my goat does. Let's go DK! But Yoshi was pissed, so he comes in and gets a sucker punch in on DK. Pikachu then comes in and now it's Pikachu versus Yoshi, and the tag team format is absolutely dismantled and things are going off the rails. Yoshi does a lethal tail swipe, knocking Pikachu down, leaving both the red team down. Everyone got up, and out of nowhere, Mario goes on a frenzy, hitting everyone he can see, even his own teammate Yoshi. What the hell, Mario? Chill out! Everyone was wiped out again, but it looked as if it was Mario versus Pikachu and Donkey Kong versus Yoshi because they were closer. Pikachu probably took out Mario because he sucks, but from behind him, the ref comes in, biting his ears, screaming to the crowd that it tastes like chicken. What the hell? That's not fair. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ring, Donkey Kong pulls out his mallet of doom and starts swinging it around. Oh shit, Yoshi, look out! As Donkey Kong's swinging it though, something terrible happens and somehow he hits himself with it, and now both of Red Team are in like really weird situations, and everyone's kind of recovering from this brutal attack from each other, and what's this? They're all running to the middle now? Oh shit, oh! And in a crazy turn of events, the ref says it's a draw and everyone wins. Bye Super Smash Bros. Coming out on April 26, 1999, everyone. Holy shit, absolute cinema! Okay. I think it's safe to say we did not miss anything by recreating the live stream with toys. Look, I know there's some Slamfest experts out there who probably found holes in my performance, but I think I did a pretty good job, okay? You didn't recreate Lost Media using toys now, did you? Okay, well, that was fun, but where do we go next? Well, after everyone had their brief niche nostalgia on this random event, things got serious. Well, a couple people started looking for the live stream back in 2020, finding sites like the previously mentioned Zelda 64 planet and whatnot. It wasn't enough. What we needed was some real firepower. We needed the big guns. We needed the entire Lost Media Wiki, a community full of the best people who look for the media we lost to time. So on May 25th, 2021, the Lost Media Wiki community launched Slamfest 99 as the next On the Hunt project, a series where they highlight a specific topic of lost media as top priority. Right as this event started, one user found something really interesting in the N64 magazine that talked about the event. I'm going to show you two photos and see if you can notice yourself first. You see that? The photo on the left is from the Zelda 64 website and is in really low quality, while the photo on the right is from the magazine and is pretty crisp. But what does this even mean? Why does this matter? Well, live streams back in the day were really low quality, and both photos were at incredibly similar angles. Since the other photo is so crisp, that means that it might just imply that somewhere out there a VHS copy of the event may exist. After all, in order to get live streams back then, you needed a whole broadcast truck and whatnot, and that was all run off VHS technology. So if we were gonna find Slamfest, we probably had the best bet looking for the physical copy, rather than hoping some random person downloaded it off the web 25 years ago and then like kept it today. There's only one major problem though, and that's finding where the hell this VHS tape ended up, because it could be anywhere in the world right now. Eventually we got a couple leads that also assumed a VHS tape existed since they worked on the event but didn't remember much. As the Lost Media Wiki talked to more and more people, 3 companies popped up as key VHS holder suspects: OnStream Media, Nintendo, and Golin. Yeah. One lead that theorized one of the companies may have the tape is event organizer Ed Spinoza, who sounds like a character from Peglin because the game has shit like Dagorb Forbification, and there's a guy called Spinventer, and he's a goblin who spins like an orb. And get this, Edward Spinoza worked for Golin, and he is the Spinventer. Holy shit. Okay, getting back on topic. Ed Spinoza helped organize Slamfest during his time at Golan, and he said that the van they used to broadcast the truck was in fact a Goblin truck. So this seems really promising that they'd have a VHS copy, but what about the other two? Nintendo is basically the best option, but also not an option at all since they're Nintendo, and even if they did have a copy, who knows what Mission Impossible shit it would take to get that out. On-Stream Media, on the other hand, is the company that bought the old company that hosted the rebroadcast for Slamfest, so from that mess of a sentence, I can only assume finding it would also be a mess. But it's way more likely that if they did have a recording, they would be willing to share it. Golan, on the other hand, is, like I said, by far our biggest suspect. While On-Stream Media seems somewhat promising, the fact that Golan had a truck recording the whole thing has to mean something. We don't fully know if they kept the VHS around, but we also haven't confirmed they didn't. In my opinion, if anyone was gonna have the tape, it would be the Green Golan. One thing worth looking at though is going back to the evidence that made us think that a VHS tape may exist in the first place. Because that photo came from an official UK Nintendo magazine, and if Nintendo got that crisp of a photo, I like to think they do have a copy that they used as a press kit. Otherwise I'd have no idea how they got like the same angle but a way better photo. If I had to theorize what happened, my best bet would be that Golan had the VHS tape from their truck, maybe copied it or just sent the original copy to Nintendo. Nintendo then gave it to a couple game news outlets including themselves and then locked it up in the vault forever. I bet On-Stream Media doesn't have it at all, but I'm just a YouTuber who looked this up like a month ago, so all this is my opinion. Eventually Ed Spinoza came back into the picture. Quite literally, he found a bunch of photos he took back from Slamfest, giving us the highest quality pictures yet and showing some cool behind the scenes stuff, but that was about it, except for one thing. Remember back to one of the first sources and leads we had way earlier in the video? Well, yeah, that user was named King85, and he gave us really valuable info with Zelda 64 Planet's blog post back in the day. Unfortunately, he's a pretty hard guy to reach since that post was made 27 years ago, but since we have proof that he watched the live stream and likely took screenshots of it, we hoped that he might have a copy, and after years of trying to contact him, we finally got a hold of him. And to our surprise, he didn't have a copy. He didn't have anything new to add at all. And that brings us to today. Slamfest 99 to this day remains one of the most sought after pieces of Lost Media ever, like up there in Holy Grail levels. Despite the best of the best looking for this thing, no one can find a surviving copy of the broadcast, and that really sucks. I had a lot of fun recreating this thing with toys and really wish I could watch the full thing because it sounds so tacky and insane, but for now we just gotta kinda hope someone finds a copy before we run out of internet to search. Look, I know I said in the title that we lost it forever and that we'll never see it again, but I really don't believe that. I think that somewhere out there, someone saved a copy. Whether that's some random person online, Goblin, On-Stream Media, or Nintendo, somewhere this damn thing has to exist. I just refuse to believe it doesn't. This whole thing may seem hopeless to some, and I thought it was for a bit too, but the truth is, there's so many people we haven't contacted yet that could get us one step closer to ending the search, and so many methods we haven't even tried yet. The Lost Media Wiki thrives off of new people and new ideas, so if you think you have a great idea to try, then feel free to join the Lost Media Wiki's Discord. You might be able to find something, who knows? If you're seeing this and know anything about the event that we don't, then please let me or someone on the Lost Media Wiki team know. Any form of information helps. I'd like to credit L Supersonic Q for all the information he provides about this topic in his YouTube channel. If you want to see the full story, then definitely check out his videos. This is just made for like a bite-sized piece of the full story. I'd also obviously like to credit the Lost Media Wiki because I wouldn't be able to make this video without them. And lastly, I'd also like to credit you for being a freaking epic, awesome sauce gamer. That is what I wrote on my script. Great. Alright, that's all I've got. The script ended already. I didn't write an outro, so for now I'm Monkey Man, and that was the strange Nintendo livestream we lost forever. But hopefully not. And hopefully you like and subscribe, and yeah.